and like you work at something maybe at night, after work, you can't really like go out on LinkedIn and advertise it because like your boss would see it. But at what point do you say, I have enough here, I can really go quit my job, start spending down those savings and go do something?
You're much more responsible than I am. Like I had, $50,000 in credit card debt, and I had the nicest apartment in Queen Anne, and I bought a brand new Honda, and it was very stupid. And so I had to go get a job, and I couldn't start a startup. I waited. I needed my friends to pull me out of that situation. So, I mean, I think you want, I don't know, at least 6, maybe 9 months minimum of like just being able to live on ramen in the cheapest possible way, and then at that point, like the money in your bank is like just capital that you think of, and so that's probably what I would want. And then the other thing is, I would try to I would want to work with the smartest possible people. Like I know this is a big internet debate. It's like, do you need a co-founder? Honestly, like if it's your first startup, I would never start. Like my second or third startup, sure, I could do it like alone. I have connections, I know who to hire, like all the stuff. If it were my first, I would not try to do it alone because there's just too much going on. There's like the gradient of things that you need to learn is too wide, and you need to go together.
Yeah. And in my experience, for people who are your age, who've like already graduated college or working at some company, that's the biggest limiting factor in practice for them actually doing a company, is like they and their co-founder both need to be willing to quit their jobs and go in on a startup at the same time. It's just like a timing problem. And like co-founders are hard to find, and it's hard to make that timing line up. So my advice would be like, if you and your if that does line up for you and you and your co-founder are both in a point in your life where you're like able to quit your jobs and go all in, you should probably just do it, because it literally might not ever happen again. It's actually that hard to do.
Hey guys, well, first of all, thank you for the event. My voice is a bit cracked because of talking too much over the past few days. We're actually talking to the CEO of Strava yesterday at one of the after parties, and he mentioned that they started being a very niche startup. And I've taken a look at all the Y Combinator startups over the years, and it looks like they're getting increasingly niche. So I was just wondering, like, what do you think? Like, what's your take on being super niche at the beginning and then expanding? And how do you know, like, how niche you have to be in the beginning?
Being niche at the start has actually always been like the recipe to succeed. Like even in the YC world, kind of like the current biggest company by market cap is Airbnb. And Airbnb was like the definition of niche when it started. Like it was literally airbeds in people's living rooms, right?
During conferences.
Yeah, during conferences. So like, I'm not sure you can get more niche than that.
Democratic conferences.
Yeah, democratic conferences. Yeah. So like, and it turns out that expanded into just being this like monster company that's taking over all of travel. But there's even less obvious examples of this where people don't realize that things that seem huge now were niche at the beginning. Stripe actually, in a sense, obviously it's payments, of course, it's a big market, but actually when they first started, it was like an API for developers. And the only thing that differentiated it from Braintree was that you could take payments instantly. And people actually didn't think that was much of a wedge. It was like, oh, okay, sure, if I'm working on a weekend project, I'll care a lot about that. But like big businesses aren't going to care about that. They're fine to wait 2 weeks to get like their merchant account. And so it's always been the case that niches have been the right way to start, actually, and to dominate a niche and find ways to like expand into like adjacent markets and grow into a big company, I think is like the recipe.
And Brian Chesky quotes a lot of some of the best advice he got from PG during the batch was to really hone in to find 10 people that love your product much better than, 100 randos. And a lot of companies start like that. You want to find those maximalist users that really obsess with you, and you iterate on those. I mean, Coinbase was also very niche too.
Yeah, Coinbase was classic niche because crypto itself was small and fringe, and even within that, they were building for what people thought was a non-existent market. Essentially, it was just like regular people who wanted a nice user interface to like buy and hold Bitcoin, and it was
a bit
like
of an oxymoron. Regular people.
Yeah,
in crypto
exactly. It was like the conventional wisdom was just people who want to use it to like launder money and buy drugs, and it was like, okay, no, there's like other use cases for it. But with AI more than ever, by the way, like I think that niche is the way to go because no one really knows how big the markets are. And it does seem like things that seem like they were niche before AI, you can get people to pay you a lot more money for because they're not just buying software, they're buying like work from you. And so find the niche you're really interested in, optimize for your like passion and interest in it, and just pull on that thread.
This is like actually a really powerful moment because literally you have 130, I think of O3 as basically about 130 IQ, maybe O3 Pro can be even smarter than that. When I really think about that, it's like, oh yeah, like a lot of the people who I've ever hired in my lifetime are like, yeah, O3 is smarter than that person now. So, and then you can basically take that and, connect it to the proprietary data systems of almost any niche. And the more weird and unlikely for someone in this room to know about it, the more likely that will be a durable enough moat that you can get a foot, you can wedge yourself in there. And then basically all you need is a wedge. And then you just basically expand that wedge until you have the pie. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Go ahead and build awesome stuff.